Alright, welcome to the lunchtime video, my favorite video. We're going to be doing Anki cards today, just like before. Test is coming up in a matter of days. It's actually coming up in 8 days. So pretty soon it will be coming up in less than a week. Okay, so let's open up Rudder 1 and do a login on it. There we go. And take a look at what's on there now. Okay, so it's just a blanked out config. So let's open up Anki and go through some cards. So I guess if there's one thing I would have changed is probably, in my study, is probably doing these Anki cards a bit sooner. Okay, I remember doing this last night, so it's going to be edit. So the first step is going to be applying it to an interface, and your interface where you receive control traffic is going to be the loopback interface. Then it's going to be family inet filter. COPP policing. Oops, we gotta pick a direction, of course. It's gonna be input. Okay, so yeah, that looks good. The next step is going to be, oh my god, man. Okay, so as far as what I think it is, I think it's edit policy options, and then I think it's just a policy statement. And then it's going to be, oh, you know what? We know what it is because it's what I called here. It's a filter. So edit firewall filter, and then it's going to be COPP policing. Okay, and now here's where we can do different terms. We can have a term for things we want to have the most priority, second most priority, third most priority, that sort of thing. So let's do the first term. Is going to be very important. So now we can do a set from, and we can match the traffic that we consider very important. So examples of that would be from protocol BGP. I guess EGP would be similar to that, would be the same. But another good example would be, so a way we could do that was we could say if it's from protocol TCP and the established, so the keep alives for TCP could be as long as the source port is BGP. Yeah, so this is a good example. And then we could do set then policer, then we're going to send it to a policer named very, we can use the same name for the policer because it's a different thing. Okay, so then the next step would be to define that actual policer. Okay, and then to define the actions we actually want to take, so set if it exceeds a bandwidth percent of 90%, then what we're going to do is set the loss priority to low to make sure that these are going to be some of the last ones to be dropped. Oops, so we are missing a mandatory statement. We've also got to have a burst size limit. Alright, we'll just make that the lowest. Okay, let's do a commit check on that. Oops, so it looks like we've got a problem here. So, percentage bandwidth police are very important, can only be referenced by interface specific and physical interface specific filters. Ah, okay, and that makes sense because you can't have a percentage of the bandwidth being used on a loopback address. Or sorry, a loopback interface. Okay, so we've got to match it on something else. Let's do bandwidth limit. We're going to do 600 bits per second. Oh, well, it's got to be a minimum. So let's do 8,000. Let's do the minimum. Alright, so that looks good to me. Roll back 0. Let's take a look at what the card says. So the card has a lot more. I think it's more important that I just get the gist of it because they're gonna, in the instructions, give me the details. I don't have to implement the details. So as long as I'm comfortable with one of these, I'm pretty much comfortable with all of them. But I will type this whole thing out just to get it under my fingers. But I think I'm gonna definitely mark this one good. I don't think it's ready for easy yet, but I'll mark it good once I finish typing this out. Unfortunately, I do have to take a quick break right now, but I'll be back shortly. Alright, I'm back, so let's type out these policies and then move on. So, yep, we're applying this to the loopback interface, which does have implications as we have seen for the kinds of actions we can take. Okay, so the way the card initially had it was, oops, I actually forgot the, oh, you know what? I wonder if this filter specific command allows me to use a percentage. I don't know. I'm not sure what this command is for. Okay, so you can see it's really not quite under my fingers. I'm having to do a lot of tabbing. I'm having to do a lot of corrections. So this is good to go over. I'm still going to mark this good though, because I'm feeling pretty good about how I started it with being able to just come up with it on the fly, or at least one section of it. I'm definitely very concerned about the language they're going to be using on the test, and if it'll be clear enough what I'm meant to do, or if it's like a Cisco exam where they expect you to be able to translate the jargon. Oh. Oops, so I did a full commit. Let's roll that back. Roll back one. Commit that again. I meant to do just a commit check. I didn't want to commit it, but yeah, I definitely think this is good. Alright, so the next one is going to be high availability. I'm not sure what this is about. Let's take a look at the answer. Oh, right. So this is graceful restart. It's redundant routing engines. I'm gonna do a yeah. So let's do a space after all of the tops. It looks like it's VRRP as well. Okay, so we're just gonna do this again. I don't think I'm gonna mark this one good because I couldn't really think that, oh, what is high availability? Oh, well, of course it's graceful restart, it's VRRP, it's tracking interfaces and then taking VRRP actions that way. It didn't really come to the forefront of my mind, so I'm gonna mark this as again. But before I do that, I'll just type out the card. Okay, oh right, so I'm not sure what they mean by restart time. Maybe it's because there's a different, yeah, maybe because there's a different version they're using, but this looks good to me. Yep, so this is how you log into another routing engine in case they ask me to do that. So it's probably going to be RE1 if it's the backup. RE0 is going to be the main one, but this is just for practice. So yeah, it's going to be given in the LAMP instructions. Okay, and then the track statement goes under the VRRP group configuration on the interface. And then you'd be tracking a different interface, but it makes sense that it's under this one because you change the priority cost of this interface. So here, let's drop it down by 50 points to 50. Okay, and we don't have another. Oh, so graceful restart and non-stop routing may not be enabled simultaneously. Could not connect to another. Now see, I thought I disabled. Oh no, see, I did enable non-stop routing. Yeah, right here it looks like. So I guess this card is preparing for one or the other scenario, depending on what is in the lab instructions. Okay, we got a success here. I think I'm going to mark this again just because it was not super easy. Okay, so this is, yeah, this is setting up a probe, so it's kind of a little bit new to me, especially setting up a RPM probe. OAM, I have lots of experience with, but an RPM probe is something I'd like to practice. I'm probably going to mark this one as again as well. Alright, let's do a full commit on this one, just so I can check the probe results. Okay, so it's a different command on my version, it's history results. Oh, and you have to do, oh, it looks like you have to do a since. Or you have to do the name of the test. Ah. Yep, and then the owner. Okay. Alright, so let's mark this again because it wasn't super familiar to me, and then move on to the next one, which is going to be high availability. This is the one we just did. It's a VRR group, it's nonstop active routing, or graceful restart, depending on which one you want to use. It's redundant routing engines, and it's tracking interfaces. Yep, so let's just type this out again. Okay, we don't have the restart time command. Okay, so we could skip the stuff for the routing engine. I'm pretty comfortable with that. Okay, I'm doing a different cost. We're going to raise the cost this time if that interface goes down. So let's do a commit check on that. Oops, so... Oh, it looks like you can't raise it, you can only lower it. So really all you're configuring there is the amount, or is what you want it lowered by. It's either what you want it lowered by or what you want it lowered to. I think it is what you want it loaded to instead of what you want it lowered by. Let's have it lowered to 15. But let's look at the... Oh, no, it is what you want it lowered by. So let's have it lowered by 75 so that it ultimately goes down to 15. Alright, so I'm going to say I'm good on this. Alright, so now here's the probe that we just did. So it's going to be edit. See, I don't even know. What was it, like a ECM or... oh, I think it was under chassis? Or maybe system services? Yeah, see, this is why I wanted to see this again. I have no idea. Ah, so... Okay, I was close. It was services. Okay, so I'm definitely going to hit again on this. I didn't even know where to begin. Oh, control plane placing. That one I've got down pretty good. So hopefully I can hit a good on this, but let's try to do this just on my own. So firewall, filter, it's going to be COPP, policy, term, important, set from protocol, OSPF, yeah, and then set then policer, important, set, okay, and then we can do a up, edit, policer, important, set, okay, filter specific, set IF exceeding, bandwidth limits, okay, so anything over that bandwidth we're going to discard. Alright, that looks good to me. Let's do a commit check. Okay, and then we'll look at the answer, we'll type out everything, and we'll mark this as good. I'm almost tempted to mark it as easy, but I don't think I'm quite there yet. And in my little example here, my kind of test example, I actually forgot to apply it to the interface, so it's definitely good and not easy. Yeah, so if you have a good understanding of where your BGP neighborships are sourcing from, and you will have that if you use the passive keyword, you don't need to apply it in both directions. There's no harm in doing so, so it's probably just the best practice. But it does help to have a nice, clean, readable config, especially on test day when you can kind of put your tinfoil hat on and think that an issue is not related to what it's actually related to, and that's really dangerous because then you spend all your time on something that's not going to get you any extra points. Alright, so this one definitely gets a good now. If not an easy, but I think it gets a good, not quite an easy yet. Okay, so now, yep, this is the way Anki works. It's going to keep grilling me on the ones I find difficult until I don't find them as difficult. This one I don't find as difficult now. I know it's under the Edit Services RPM hierarchy. So, can do number of things, 2544 RFC benchmarking. That I have a lot of experiences with at ISPs. That sort of thing is a huge what's the word I'm looking for? A huge part of what an ISP does is provides benchmarking and testing so that the customers know that they're getting the services they ordered. So on the team I was on, that was a large part of what we did every day. And it wasn't necessarily always RFC 2544. There's also a YDOT 1564 EtherSAM test, or no, 1731. I don't remember, but the kind of plain name for it that's not just the number of the actual networking standard is EtherSAM. So that's a different kind of test that is very commonly done in ISPs. Okay, so now we can set all kinds of stuff. We can set the target for the probe. We can set the services we want to test. Do we want to just test? Oh, actually we can't do that. But we can fill it in with code points. We can make sure that our class of service is getting there. We can test on a particular port. You know, whatever they want, we can do. It's going to be hopefully given carefully in the exam instructions. All right, so let's look at the answer key. Yeah, so really it's just whatever knobs they want toggle. I'm hoping that'll be very clear in the exam instructions. So this one I definitely feel good on. I'm going to mark this one as good. But before I do that, let's type out what they have here. Okay, so here's where we can test HTTP, ICMP, TCP, UDP, whatever you would like can be tested. Okay, and then this probe history command works a little bit differently. Let's try it though. Services RPM, probe history. Now that I know that the owner of the test is going to be my first name, and then the actual name of the test is going to be ICMP. So now I can look at the, oops, oh, it doesn't exist though because we didn't commit. So let's just do a commit, and then yeah, there we go. So now that second command works. The first command is really easy, RPM. Probe results, don't have to do any narrowing down or anything like that. So we can see we're gonna see a result every time we do a probe, and we're gonna do it multiple times. Not only that, I think I've got more than one configured. I forgot to roll back properly. Yeah, I've also got my probe configured because I didn't roll back properly. So let's make sure the config is blank before moving on. Alright, and I'm definitely comfortable marking this good, if not easy, but let's stick with good for now. Okay, so we're back to infrastructure high availability. This is going to be things like VRRP, nonstop routing, or graceful restart. So graceful restart will have two routing engines, and if anything happens to the first one, it'll just automatically flip over to the second one. And then we'll get the master showing up here. VRRP I feel really comfortable in, so I'm gonna do this again and mark it as good. And I'm just gonna type it all out. I'm not gonna take the time to come up with it on my own, even though that is the most effective way to study. To just practice your ability to recall things is the most important thing. But as I said, the most important thing I can do is just read the instructions carefully, because it's going to be given on the instructions what I have to do. So as long as I can make it into the actual command hierarchy, or the hierarchy level in the configuration, as long as I can make it into the correct one, I can question mark and hopefully figure it out, even if I don't know, have memorized the exact command. Oh, so this is just to log into it. Yep, this is to set the host name on it. And routing options, non-stop routing, we can't enable that if we've got graceful restart. So we already enabled graceful restart, so we can't do both of them. Yep, and then set system commit. Well, you need to use this synchronize command so that it's configured on both routing engines. And we can have that set to default, it looks like. So anytime I do a commit, it will be committed to both routing engines, and I don't have to remember to do commit synchronize. Okay, so we clearly can't commit the configuration that goes to the other routing engine. I'm surprised the RE1 shows up in there. Yeah, okay, that's interesting. But we only have one routing engine, so we can't do that. But I'm feeling good with this card, so let's click good. We won't get it until tomorrow. Now, infrastructure BMP, I'm not even sure what BMP stands for, so this is one I'm really not comfortable with. Probably be marking it as again. Okay, so yeah, it's a special BMP station. I'm not sure what that even is. Looks like it's basically just another probe, basically. Oh, BGP monitoring protocol. Yeah, I would just use
Okay, so I don't think this is going to work because... Oh! Yeah, so it's set up as a passive station, but it's got a station port. So passive station must not have station port enabled, so we can get rid of that because it's a mode passive. Okay, but that looks good to me. Yeah, I'm gonna say again because it just completely caught me off guard. Okay, I'm not sure what this miscellaneous stuff is here, but let's check. So it's things like DNS, it's things like setting up knobs for SSH, like the connection limit, rate limit. It seems like setting up a hash key for MPLS, because I'm not sure. That's kind of catching me off guard as well. So yeah, I think I'm gonna stop the video here with 10 minutes to spare, and we'll come back to this in the after work video. So thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.